Hey YouTube. Well, I'm doing this video because I've seen some other videos coming out saying that Mike Tyson is going to get flattened by Jake Paul. And let me tell you that that is not going to happen. So yes, I'm in the Mike camp, but why would I believe that a 58-year-old is going to drop a 26-year-old? Here are my reasons. One, Mike Tyson is a natural athlete, okay? He's been a natural athlete all his life, from when he was a kid to now, and it's something to be said about natural ability. When you're just gifted like that, you can generally hold a good, look, as an average person, I've always been average at, sports. So I've never claimed to be good at any particular sport. I've never claimed to be bad, but I'm not a natural athlete. Okay, like I've never had that ability. What I can say is when I was training with my mate, who, about 12 years older than me, I think, he could easily, now, granted he had a naturally bigger frame, but even percentage-wise, like when you break it down percentage, like it took me a long time to catch up to even slightly where he was, and he had always had better cardio. He always, I think my reflexes were slightly better than his, but probably not now, but back then, I probably did, but I just had a not naturally smaller frame, so that's probably not unexpected. And also, his weightlifting, he was always I would say percentage-wise, he always just did that little bit better. Like, it was just that little tiny percents better than I could ever push out, and I really tried. So I can say that natural ability, you can catch up a bit, but it's to say that Mike is got no cardio is rubbish. I've heard of many guys in their 60s and 70s doing marathons. You know what? I would die doing a marathon. Someone 30 odd years older than me running a marathon probably has, these guys, if it was me, I would die. I don't think I would make it to the end. Not at all. That's no shame on my end. It's just some people, that's their, that's what they get. They get gifts like that. We're talking, Mike is a natural heavyweight, okay? He carries his weight 225 and above. So over 100 kilos for us that don't speak archaic languages. He's just a naturally big guy, and he's always fought at those weights. He's never not fought at those weights. He knows how to fight at those. He knows how to control his stamina and when to go soft and when to go hard. He's been there. He's done that. So he knows when to use explosive power, and he knows when to set up a trap. He knows how to bait someone into a shot. I guess that's setting up traps. But, he knows how to do that. He's been there and done that many times. Another thing that you got to think about is Mike has natural power, all right? So he's got George Foreman power. He's got Deontay Wilder power. He's got that kind of power. You get cracked with a power shot from Mike. If he sinks his weight down and he's got you boxed in a corner, he sinks his weight down and smacks you in the liver really, really hard, chances are you ain't getting up from that. Even if he hits you in the head or somewhere where you have a bit more protection, where you're not as soft, you still probably ain't getting up from that. You're just going to be ow, and that's it. He's got that kind of power where he will break humans. If he sits down and sinks down some shots, he will physically break humans. Another thing to consider is, as I said before, Mike being a natural heavyweight, Jake's not a natural heavyweight. He's not a small guy, not by any stretch of the imagination. He's not, he wouldn't be considered small. He is a large man, but he's not heavyweight large. You know what I mean? he's what, 90 kilos walking around to maybe 95. Like, that's his natural fit body weight. Like, so that would be him being super fit and athletic and ability to perform at his maximum. And that's probably what, like 90, 95 kilos. So probably like 185 to 200 pounds, whatever they, that, I know that's probably a bit more of a range, but that's what I would guess Jake's natural fighting weight would be. I don't think he would be heavier than that. And I don't think he should want to be heavier than that. He probably feels sluggish, and I've been heavy, all right? And I can tell you what, you don't have more strength when you're heavy. That's not true. Like, you can physically push more, like, as mass, like, you can physically exert more mass on something, but as far as muscles are concerned, no, it has no effect. So, it won't make you stronger to be bigger and fatter. That's not true. I mean, you might take it to the extreme and say, well, what about the world's strongest men people? They go towards the more heftier side when they're training for a comp. It's like, yeah, but you got to remember, like, they're naturally strong people anyway, and they're pushing their bodies to the maximum. Like, everything's maximum. So, it's not like the average person. This is what I'm basing this on, right? I don't really consider Jake Paul to be he's not a natural athlete in my books. He's never shown anything that really says, this guy can run, this guy can jump, this guy, he's got a good hand-eye coordination. If you put him in a ball spot, he would dominate. He would get the ball, he would just show off. Like, you would just be like, I want that guy on my team. Like, I've never really seen that from him. He can box. I'm not going to say he can't box, but his boxing is very rudimentary to me. Like, he doesn't have a huge repertoire. I see a lot of straight shots. I don't see a lot of hook shots. I don't see a lot of uppercuts. I don't see much close in with him. In fact, every time he gets brought into a close in fight, which is what Mike does, he's not really equipped to deal with that. Like, when Tommy Fury brought him in, he kind of hugged him and that was it. He didn't want to bang, he didn't want to get in close and use close in shots to try and do anything with it. He didn't want to try and take the advantage of maybe being shorter than Tommy, so he might be able to, have a shorter arm length, so he could actually, use that. He didn't do anything like that. He kept trying to use distance, which sort of played into Tommy Fury's hands. Like, he basically went against a strategy that would probably be a little more effective. I'm not saying it would have worked, but probably would have given him more of a chance. He probably would have more of a chance to actually sink some shots in on him. Like, if you're always back on your toes and not on your flat on your feet to deliver a heavy blow, you got no chance of knocking someone out. So, yeah, if you just can't transfer that weight, you're not going to deliver a heavy shot. I mean, a lot of people forget that punching comes from the legs and the shoulders and they think that it's all kind of like back and arm speed and shoulders and that, but in actual fact, like, it comes from your hips. Your power always comes from your hips. So if you can, get your hips behind a decent shot, someone brings them in close enough, and you hit hard. I mean, if you go to hit hard with your hips, you're going to hit a lot harder. And Mike has got really strong legs. Like, you look at his legs compared to Jake's, they're like, there's no comparison. Like, Mike's got solid heavyweight legs, and Jake does not. So, that power is just it's going to be overwhelming. Like, it'll be like night and day. Like, when he sits on a punch, it's going to be like night and day. And, the speed, well, as for the speed, from what I've seen I know people say, it just depends on the match, it depends on how long it goes, but I don't really believe that Mike Tyson has slow speed. I mean, when we saw him training with Ngannou, like, he was faster than Ngannou. When we saw him, he was, training in Ngannou. And when we saw him, in some training videos, he's always showing that he has speed. So if he shows, some speed, I'd have no doubt that he has speed. And his defense is, naturally his defense is just really good. I mean, like Jake's saying, it's a very simple one, the side-to-side thing. Well, it's all well and good until you actually face it for yourself and see it for yourself. You can't sit there and criticize a guy on something like that when, you know, he barely got touched when he was younger. Like someone barely got a decent shot on him. Because he'd be in close, he'd be doing the weaving. So, you know, like people, they're trying to hit him, but they're not hitting him. You know what I'm saying? So, a fat load of good your power does you if you can't touch the man. So, yeah, look, knowing Mike's record in the past, knowing how he trains and everything, like he's had 6 months to get ready for this fight, like prior to what he had, and he's in great shape. Like he looks really fit and healthy for this fight. I have no doubt that his body will hold up perfectly fine throughout the fight. I think he'll probably feel it a lot more than Jake Paul after, but that's probably about it. Like he's probably going to feel the effort a lot more. So what? During that fight, during that 30 minutes or whatever it's going to be, it's not going to be a good night for Jake Paul. I don't reckon. I reckon Jake Paul, being younger or not, I don't think he has the skills to handle Mike, and I don't think he's got the endurance to take the blows from Mike. I think he's really going to feel it. I think he might last 1 or 2 rounds, but I think, you know, if it goes into 3 rounds and Mike's starting to dominate, it's over, mate. He'd probably knock him out in the 3rd. Like, it's going to be like that. I know this video is dragged on. I do apologise. I'm sorry about that. So, look, I hope you have a good day. Looking forward to the fight on the weekend. But, yeah, my predictions is Mike is going to he's going to go beast mode. You know, he's going to do it for the fans. He's going to go beast mode. He's going to dig deep, do the Rocky Balboa and find that inner anger that he needs to let out. And Jake Paul's going to be his punching bag. And after that, no one will ever... I think no one will question Mike again on any of that, whether he could fight or not. I don't know why that was ever being questioned in the first place, but yeah, this isn't going to be the same kind of fights that Jake Paul's had in the past. Like these guys before, they didn't have as much time to prepare. Also, they hadn't been in training like Mike. Mike's always trained, so good luck, Jake Paul. You'll need whatever luck you can get, because fat lady's gonna be singing and she's getting her pipes ready. Peace out.